Welcome to another episode of The Art of Volunteering. I'm your host, Stormy Bell. Today, we're inviting a friend of mine, well, a new friend. We just met recently, Monique Riotto from the American Cancer Society. So, welcome, Monique. How are you?
Good, Stormy. How are you doing today?
It's been a beautiful day. Uh,
It's
you
not
know,
raining. It's wonderful.
it's not raining,
And
it's
it's
not
not
too
hot.
hot. Yeah, it's just like an awesome day for those of you living in the greater Philadelphia area. Our weather has been very hot, steamy, or raining. So it's nice that we have a break from all that. So, Monique is the Senior Development Manager on the Greater Philadelphia Community Events team. She oversees 4 relay events in the Greater Philadelphia region, two that take place in the spring in Bucks County. One of the Relay for Life of Philadelphia Hope Lodge that takes place on September 17th at their Hope Lodge in Cheltenham, Pennsylvania. And their largest Relay for Life of Chester County, Pennsylvania will take place on September 27th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. in Exton, PA. So you are very busy. So,
I think everybody is busy these
yeah.
days.
Yes, I tend to like full as opposed to busy. I like full
Mhm.
days. There's always something going. Your mind's always working. But when it's busy, you just feel like you're putting out fires.
I love this job because there's not one day that's the same. It's a very exciting. Every day is different, and I get to work with wonderful volunteers. So
That's awesome. So let's just dive in. Many of my listeners know who or what the American Cancer Society is, but for those of them who might not, can you share like the origins and the mission, just a little bit about American Cancer Society?
the American Cancer Society, I like to say our vision is end cancer as we know it for everyone. Um, We improve the lives of people with cancer and their families through advocacy, research, patient support, and ensure everyone has opportunity to prevent, detect, and survive cancer. So
Yeah,
that's what we do, you
you
know.
run the gamut.
Yeah. And, we have, we do the research, but then we also have all these services out there for people that, we have a 24-hour hotline that if somebody needs, they've newly diagnosed or they need to reach out to somebody, they can call that hotline 24/7. There's somebody there they wake up at 2 o'clock and they have a question, just call that hotline. There's somebody there 24/7, which
That's
is remarkable.
that is remarkable.
Yeah, and a caregiver can call too. Caregiver, family, friend, anybody can call that hotline.
That's such a support for people. Like you wake up at 2 a.m., your thoughts are racing, and you just need someone who's knowledgeable, who can help
Or say,
talk you
"Go
through,
here." Mhm,
just bring you back into your own space. That's
mhm.
that's awesome. Has that
Yeah, and
always been? Has that always been a
it's been
service?
as long as I know we've had it. We also have our cancer.org where, if you go to cancer.org, which is our website, there's several resources there, but we have what we call our patient and support, and there are so many resources on there for patients. Um, Talks about our Hope Lodge. It talks about our rideshare program. We launched an ACS Cares app, which people can download and get resources off of there. So I always tell people either call our 800 number, 1-800-227-2345. Have to share that.
That's awesome.
Or they can go to the cancer.org and find all these resources right there because there's just so many that we have for all types of cancers.
That's so valuable. Um, some of my listeners are not in the Chester County, Greater Philadelphia area. Can you talk a little bit about who and what Hope Lodge is?
Hope Lodge is where cancer patients who are undergoing treatment, who live 40 miles away from their cancer treatment center and need to stay overnight, can stay at Hope Lodge free of charge with their caregiver. We have 31 of them across the country. It's something we are focusing on more across the country, but we are lucky in the Philadelphia area to have one of these. It's in Cheltenham. One of my events takes place there. Basically, it is a hotel. They get a room with 2 queen size beds, their own bathroom. It's a wonderful facility. There is this huge kitchen with basically, I think there's 4 or 5, it's like 4 kitchens within 1 kitchen. There is a lounge on each floor. There is laundry facilities, and this is all free to the cancer patient. The only requirement is they live 40 miles away from their cancer treatment center. So say somebody from the Poconos, out in Chester County area. We have people from Delaware. We've had people from out of the country stay there, and we offer them a shuttle service down to Penn, Jefferson, Fox Chase, Temple, wherever in the Philadelphia region they are getting their treatment where they have to stay overnight. It can be for one night or several nights, depending on how many days they have to stay. And they typically go home on the weekend because people don't get their treatments on the weekend. We have volunteers who come in, need it be just volunteer groups who come in or companies who come in and make dinners for these guests, which you could sign up to do. It's absolutely wonderful. My committee goes once a month to make dinner for them. And it's just absolutely wonderful because we sit down with the guests, talk to them, we get to know them. And what's wonderful about this is the guests find when they go there that they have a community, that when they come back after a day of treatment, that they have people to talk to and everything. It's just a really one, and we have a gym inside of it too. We have a
Oh,
small gym. Yeah, it's really, it's a wonderful place for, and they don't, and if we're full, we try to find discounted, if
you work with them.
places for them to stay. Yeah. So it's truly a remarkable spot, and they're located across the country in different areas.
So already I hear the recurring theme of support, that really the American Cancer Society is all about support.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, we do. And volunteer. We have wonderful
and
volunteers who
volunteers.
help us out.
I have you down as being a staff partner to the volunteers.
Hmm.
What does that look like?
We're a team. We work
Okay.
together. Um, I represent the American Cancer Society, but a lot of these volunteers that I work with through all my events have been around 25, 30 plus years.
Hmm.
And we work together for the one vision to put on these events, to bring the community together for the one cause,
Hmm.
to bring awareness to cancer, to raise funds for cancer, but to bring the community together to say we are going to come together for the same cause,
Hmm.
to say you're not alone in this journey, to remember those who've lost their battle. And I work with all of these people to, for the, we work, we're a team. We're a team. I don't look at, I don't, that we all work together for the same cause. So I just say, okay, what do you need from me? How can I help you? And vice versa. We just, I have a wonderful one of my committees has a sponsorship chair. We work together to secure sponsorships. We have survivor committee chairs, and they sit there and we look at the needs of the events, and we logistically, it's a year round relay. People used to say, oh, it's a one day thing. Relay has become a year round event. We do things year round for the community. And like I said, yeah, no, we've become a team really as a family. The volunteers become a family to you.
Now, the volunteers, are they, I'm sure it's a mix, but I'll ask. Um, Survivors, whether it's someone who's overcome cancer, or family members, is it a way of giving back? Like, what do the volunteers look like?
There are survivors, there are
Okay.
caregivers,
Okay.
there are people who've lost a loved one, and there are people who have not been impacted by cancer at all.
Really?
I had someone I like to when I started a few years back, I started a meeting by telling me I always lead with the mission. I always want to know why people are um, coming, why people are there. And the person said when they started relaying many years ago, they weren't impacted by just they said friends had come to relay. They knew nobody who had cancer, and what and then sadly over the years they've now been had friends impacted. And last year I was doing similar to this, a podcast to promote our event. And she hadn't told me her husband had recently been diagnosed within the last 2 weeks, and she shared that. So 28 years ago when she started, they knew nobody who had cancer. They just wanted to get back and be involved in a wonderful event like this.
Mhm.
And over the years, they have had friends, and now her husband, he's doing wonderful. He's one of my great logistics people, I like to say. And you know, but yeah, you just never know. But so it's a well-rounded mix of people. We have people from student volunteers
Mhm.
all the way up.
How did people just find you through the website?
Yeah, you can come to the website, you can call me. Yeah, any of our websites, because there is when you go to the bottom, it talks about all of our when you go to our cancer.org, it talks about all of our different community events and ways to get involved. So yeah, it tells you all the different ways you can get involved, or you can just reach out to me and I can share all the different ways you can become involved.
We will definitely have all of that in the show notes.
Yeah.
So when a person raises their hand and says, "I want to volunteer," do you training, growth opportunities? What does that look like?
First, I like to sit down with someone and find out their interest because I don't want to put somebody into a volunteer role that they won't want to grow. I want them to have a positive experience. Yes, we offer training. We that is one thing I have to say we do. I think we do well. We have a lot of resources. Um, Matter of fact, I was just my spring committee is all my spring events are already kicking off for 2026, believe it or not. And where our leadership committees are already starting some of their training already. And I was just at a meeting last week talking about trainings that we will start doing to help them to ensure we're going to have a successful year next year. So yes, we do different types of training for the roles that they're in to ensure that they get out of it what they want. And I also do training with high school students because they want that too.
That's awesome. So from either your volunteers or the individuals, and you've kind of touched on it a little bit, can you share a story of impact? Something where you've directly seen what you're doing impacting someone's life. There's probably a lot.
There is there's so many. I don't want to call out one event over another event because
Yeah.
they're all special to me.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is each relay, relay's been going on I work on our relay team, our relay events. And this is our 40th anniversary. And even though there is a standard structure to them, each community is a little bit different. So they each have their own little flair to them. Um, how they've been impacted. Need to be through the ride shares, which is where we have volunteers who will take patients to their doctor's appointments free of charge. So that's been impacted. Oh gosh, oh,
Is there someone who's ever shared a story about their volunteering and just how it's meant so much of them personally, maybe transformed their way of looking at things? Anything like that?
I would say my Susan, who you had the pleasure of meeting. I think Susan, it's impacted her. Dawn, who works a lot with our survivors. Um, she is a survivor herself who gives back um tenfold. I don't know how, like, she just makes sure every survivor is special. She goes through, when we do our luminaria bags at Relay, she makes sure we have everybody. She makes sure survivors are special. And I don't want to call out one specific because
Oh yeah.
they all
Yeah.
bring something special to that event.
Hmm.
Because they want to make sure when we have the survivors show up that we are celebrating them. And one thing I say is a survivor is a survivor from the day of their diagnosis, that they're surviving that diagnosis. They're getting every day they're going. Because I one time had a survivor say, well, I can't wear a survivor shirt yet. I can't be celebrated. And I said, why can't you? And they said, because I'm not in remission. I said, no, you got up and you're going to treatment. You're surviving that somebody told you you had cancer, so you're a survivor to me. You're my warrior." And she got up and she put that t-shirt on and she wore that t-shirt proudly. And, just because they're not been told they rang the bell yet or anything, there still are survivors. And then, and I like to say too that, unfortunately, we've lost some people. We fight the battle, their bodies. We remember them and we still continue to remember them through our luminaria ceremonies. And we continue the battle for them, even though they're not here. Their spirit's always with us.
That's awesome. Okay, here's a question slightly different. Let's Do you have a volunteer story?
Probably have several of them. It
Do tell.
volunteering has been ingrained in me since I was young.
Okay.
My father volunteered in nonprofit, so we were always doing non volunteering in nonprofit from the time I was young. I did it in high school, I did it in college, and then when my kids went to school, our middle schools did relay, and I was the mom who was, "Mom, guess what? You're gonna be there with us from 8 in the morning until you're the mom chaperone." And you know what? I wouldn't have traded it for the world with either of my 2, children because it was wonderful to see them do what they did. It's like, "Mom, we're gonna go do a fundraiser. Guess who's driving and guess who's staying with us?" And seeing how they wanted to give back and the importance of their, and then seeing them walk around the track when the luminarias were lit and who they were walking for. And they still talk about it when they did relay in middle school. And so volunteering has been part of my life all the time. I volunteered when my kids were in school. I was the mom who, when my kids were in elementary school, I organized the teacher appreciation dinners and breakfast. Um, my When my son left elementary school, the teachers were like, "No, you can't leave," and I'm like, "Well, sorry, I have to move on." Because I have a little bit of an age difference between my two, so they had me for several years. But it's just I feel if I can make an impact by making someone's life a little bit better, volunteering is why I do it. And I still volunteer. Even though I work in the nonprofit, I still volunteer with other things.
I think it's not all people who work in nonprofit feel this way, but I think most people feel that by giving at their work and giving through their volunteer time, it's truly a way of changing the game for others, uplifting them, providing resources, uh, just standing in the gap is so incredible.
Like I said, if I can just brighten someone's day or make them feel a little bit better and let them know
Yeah.
life is going to get a little easier, because you see a lot of people going through things right now. And if we can just make their lives a little bit happier, and that's what we try to do at Relay is say, you're not alone in this journey. We're all here for you. And, when I go to these Relay events, there are people who have been doing this together for many years and they're an extension of their Relay family. They call them their relay family. And there's some people who they may not see for the entire year, but they get there that day of relay and they act like they haven't skipped a beat. They're talking, they're having a great time, and before you know it, the day's over with, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, how did this end so soon?" And it's just truly a beautiful thing to see.
My son, when he was middle high, maybe high school, but I think more middle high, he was on a friends relay for life team. They were the
Hmm.
catch up team because they always had to catch up.
Yep.
So yes, that left an impact on him and just the way they were supporting everyone on that
Hmm.
team.
Yeah, and it just it really it does, and I think about it and, my son will call me now and he'll be like, "Mom, a friend of mine's, grandfather was recently diagnosed. Where should I tell him to call and what should I do? And this is what they're doing. Is this the best?" And I'm like, "Okay, this is what they should do." And, so and or what my son was on vacation somewhere and I get a picture of the Hope Lodge in Utah. It was so cute. I was like, My grown son is sending me a picture. So, to know that they think of things like that, I've done my job to
Right.
that they're thinking of it. So,
They get to see that it's your core value.
mhm.
Absolutely. Um, for American Cancer Society, what do you think their core value is when it comes to volunteers?
We love our volunteers. We have over 1,000,000 strong across the country. We
Mhm.
can't do what we do without our volunteers.
Okay.
We love them. We appreciate them. Like I said, we have over 1,000,000 working in local communities in the US, Puerto Rico, and stuff all across the country. And we appreciate them. We honor them. Matter of fact, I was at a meeting last week where we brought in a volunteer. Um, she is a volunteer. She's not a paid staff. She's not paid staff. She just to value her opinion. Because it was only X amount of people, and we brought her in to say, tell us what you think. How can we, what do you see us doing?
Right. 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 I love
Um,
that. I love that you're so volunteer focused and the way they show up and help
mhm.
um, in so many different ways. Um, we're at the point in the conversation where I have a question that I think is fun. I'm not sure if all my guests think it's fun, but can you tell me a time that something didn't go as planned? Kind of like a blooper, and what did you learn from the situation? I know when you and I were talking about this before we came on, you're like, oh, this year's had a lot.
You can't, I always tell our volunteers, there's going to be things happen. We can't let it go off to our participants. Spring was a very wet season for everyone across the country. Very, very wet season. And we as a staff partner, I had to come into these events being the cheerleader to say the rain is not going to put a damper on our events. I had a 12-hour event where it rained all 12 hours. Um, and we still had a wonderful time. We still had a great event, but it was my job to be a cheerleader, to cheer on these volunteers because we were there at 5:30 in the morning to set up and everything. And they were troopers. And if I go in being anything but positive, it's gonna, I always say it's how we come across. So I have an umbrella theory that I always go through life with. I prepare for the unexpected and I prepare for the best. And if I come in between, then I'm happy. So I always have my backup plans in place.
Right.
Well, I couldn't hold the rain off this year, but we prepared for it and we had everything backed up and we did have a good time. We had a good time. We joked about it. They laughed at me at one point where I said, "Let me go sit in my car just to warm up for a minute." Yeah. But no, it was great. We had a wonderful time and you know, you just have to, that's life.
You got to
It's
roll with
how
it.
you approach it and, hey, as someone said, cancer patients can't say I can't deal with it. So
Right.
if cancer patients can do it, we can do it, and we pivot and we go with it and have a backup plan, and that's how I go through life is I have backup plans in place always. And then I thanked every one of those volunteers because they were remarkable.
I bet it might even become one of the most memorable because it's not what you experience every day that they're going to remember it more. Maybe.
Probably last year's Luminaria ceremony for Hope Lodge. Our Hope Lodge event is very, very different from our other relays that I do
Hmm.
because we do it during the week because we want our guests who stay at Hope Lodge to be there because they're there. And um, we had one of the guests speak. He did a phenomenal job. We didn't tell him what to say, and the luminaria ceremony we did a little bit different, and the way we ended it and how everybody came together and they were hugging each other. I just couldn't explain how they just all it just the love and the support they all felt, it just I couldn't explain it. It was just something that you had to be there to feel the strength that was coming into everybody. I think they all left like saying, "I've got this. I can do this." It was just it was a moment that I couldn't explain.
Wow. Just you sharing it with me now, I'm like, I could just feel the weight and the power.
And if
And
you could imagine, our Hope Lodge is a stone building, and what we do at Hope Lodge that day is our luminaria bags go along the walkways and stuff, but in every patient's window, we put a luminaria bag. So every window is lit with a luminaria bag. So
oh,
the entire building is lit up with luminarias. So yeah.
amazing.
So but like I think everyone is memorable. I just, this year at one of my events, we had a 10-year-old boy. His dad and mom spoke. He rang his bell. And at the end, he goes, "Dad, I want to speak." And it was just like we all sat there and all the tears came down.
Mm,
And he goes, "Thank you, everybody, for being here." And everybody had tears
yeah.
come down their face. I mean, because he got to ring his bell. He was just so awesome. Here's this 10-year-old boy standing on stage in front of everybody. He's now a year and a half out of being since his diagnosed, but he got to ring his bell. But at the end, he goes, "Dad, I want to say thank you to everybody." He wasn't planning to speak, and he took the microphone, and I was like, "Go for it. You go for it."
Oh, that's awesome.
So, just little things like that, those are why I do what I do, because I don't think, there wasn't a dry eye when he did that. When he did that.
Oh,
I have a set of cheerleaders who they come out every year and say, we're doing it. And they know what to do. They cheer those as the survivors take their first lap. They cheer them on and they know how to make them feel so special. And it's just makes me feel like I can't describe
I
it.
think I need to check my calendar for September to come
Yeah.
out for the Chester County one.
Hmm.
You know, I will
Yeah.
see what that looks like.
We'd love to have you. Anybody can come out and just stop in for part or all of it, how long you want to stay.
I think I want to
So,
come for the luminaries. That's what
oh,
I want
oh,
to
we
say.
have bagpipers. We do a luminaria ceremony, and then we have bagpipers who do the first lap playing Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
It just is really, and then I found a poem that we have on our ceremony page that I just shared with the committee last night. I said, think about this poem to read afterwards. And they were like, "Yep, we may have to read this poem." I read it for my two events
To
for
with
spring,
them, yeah.
and it hit home. It hit home it ended the day with a charged everybody up as to, it was a reflection poem. It was a
Mhm.
reflection poem. So,
Yeah. Powerful.
mhm.
All right, we're almost done with our conversation. I've enjoyed it so far, so I'm
Oh,
going
thank
to
you. Yeah.
it's just gone so quickly. All right.
Mhm.
So at this point, I give you the mic as if I'm
Okay.
handing it over to you. And I want you to love, like the good Philadelphia capital letters, love on the mission, your volunteers, your relay, or maybe something we didn't cover that really resonates with you that you want to share with my listeners.
If you need support, reach out to us at cancer.org. We have resources. I was surprised how people don't realize how much we do have. They think we only do research. Um, please reach out. Um, we are a community to say we're here for you. We have many ways that you can get involved. I work on Relay, but we have our Strides events that come up in October. We are always looking for volunteers. Need it be day of. If you can't do day of, we are always looking for year-round volunteers. Um, we are a welcoming group of people. We love to have people get involved. Um, you know, however active you want to be. And we have what I love about our volunteers. We have volunteers who come from. I'm going to talk about our bikeathon, which happens in June. They come to my event in Cheltenham at a Hope Lodge. We have volunteers who help out with 3 or 4 events. They don't just do. strides. They don't do relay. They could do 4, they volunteer for 4 or 5 events. That's how much they love the American Cancer Society. So, um, yeah, come talk
Yeah.
to us. We could find a home for you somewhere. It's absolutely wonderful, and we'd love to see you come to one of our events just to see what it's about. Like we just added something to the Chester County event that everybody was like, "Oh, that's going to be a cool thing this year to add." And we have games and activities for kids and everything. And since the Chester County relay is in the fall, we're doing it around a little bit of the fall theme and stuff like that. So there will be stuff like that to have. So it's really just to bring people together who are for the same cause to end cancer as we know it for everyone. So we can't do it without a community coming together to help out.
Ah, I love it. So thank you,
Oh,
Monique, for
thank you for
being my
having
guest
us.
today. I just enjoyed hearing about it. I enjoy speaking with you.
I enjoyed speaking with you too.
This was a pleasure. So, to my listeners, because I know you found value in today's conversation, so I ask that you share this episode, rate and review it, or even better, show up to the event. Come out and support Monique and the American Cancer Society. All the information will be in the show notes. Um, so, yeah, when you show up, you help transform the fabric of our society through volunteerism, through your time, through your yeah, your just generous support. So, thank you for listening to the Art of Volunteering. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.